Look at this beautiful smudgy box. This is the Nvidia GeForce RTX 3090, and this is the FE card. This is the Founders Edition card. Now, I had ideally been looking for a 3080 to replace the 1080 Ti, which I took out of my other PC and sold on eBay. But there's no 3080s on the market, there's no 3070s, there's very few graphics cards at all. But a couple of days ago, Nvidia released many of their sought-after Founders Edition cards through their official website and here in the UK through Scan. Now, I didn't check my phone until 30 minutes after the drop, so I missed the 3060 Ti's and the 3070s and the 3080s, but the 3090s were still there. So I decided to buy one, and it was quite an easy decision to make because I was willing to drop about £800, £900 on a 3080 from a third-party company like Asus or Gigabyte or whatever. So ponying up another £500 for the Founders Edition 3090, I think it's worth it. But what I'd like to do in this video is show you the card. I'd like to unbox it. I'd like to show you the card. I'm going to install it on my PC. Later on, I will do some tests and we'll see how this performs. But for now, I just want to show you what's in the box and show you the card itself. If you want to see the specifications for this card, please do check out the official website for the full list of specs. But I just want to quickly show you that this is 313mm long. It's a 3-slot card. It requires a 750 watt power supply at least, and it does use 2 8-pin connectors, not 3. Some 3090 cards do use 3. And this also comes with a 3-year warranty. Okay, so here we go. Wow, look at that. That is stunning. So different to other graphics cards. I'm so used to seeing fancy lights and shiny logos. It's pretty cool to see something like this. It's almost like a retro design. So if I get the card out, look at that in a second. So you can see RTX 3090 there. That will be the SLI connection there. So you can see the SLI connection there. So at the top of the card, you've got GeForce RTX. Now there's a single power connector here, and from what I'm led to believe, there's another adapter in here to allow you to connect 2 8-pins. You can see the fan on the side here, and you can see the other fan here, and this is dominated by this heatsink as well. But there is a blower style design at the back as well, and I believe about half the heat comes out the back here. So as far as the ports go, there's one HDMI 2.1 and there's 3 display ports 1.4a, so I'm sure most people will be covered by that. But just look at that design. So the 3090 Founders Edition card weighs in at 2.192 kilograms, which is 4 pounds 13.3 ounces. This is a heavy graphics card, make no doubt about it. Let's see what's in the box. Presentation is really, really good here, isn't it? See that? Inspired by gamers, built by Nvidia. Okay, so inside here, we've got a quick start guide. We've got a support guide. We've got a warning. And then we've got the power adapter cable. You can get that out. So this is the power adapter cable. And this is where the 2 8-pins will go in. The 2 8-pin power supply cables will go in there. And this single connector will go to the top. So looking at it here, you can see the connection here, and that will just connect there. A little bit different to how everyone else is doing, but that's all good. So first impressions of the design are impressive. It looks really, really good. So what I'm going to do now is put it into the PC. So this is my other PC, the one which had a 1080 Ti down there, but that has been sold and there now is room for the 3090 Founders Edition card. I've taken out the Thunderbolt card and the capture card and a few other things as well, but you can still see this huge Thermalright Lamacho RT air cooler. I've got a 960 EVO for the C drive, I've got a network card, and then I've got an adapter card for M2 SSDs, and it has another 1 terabyte 960 EVO drive there as well. Now what I need to do now at this point, before I do anything, is connect up these 8-pin connectors to this adapter. Okay, there's one. And here is, get it, here is the other. So this is what it's going to look like. Not the nicest, but I suppose it does mean that you only have a single cable now when you have to disconnect the power supply. Right, let's get this big, heavy graphics card into this little PC case. Oh, this is a tight squeeze. So it's tight, but it definitely does fit. Get in there. There we go. Success. So there it is, guys. The GeForce RTX 3090 Fe is now in my case, and as you can see here, it's a tight squeeze. It really is a tight squeeze. There's probably about 1mm between the graphics card and the front fan here, but it does fit, and with a little wiggling around, I should be able to get this in and out fairly easily. Now, this one PSU connector here does kind of make sense in a way. You know, if I want to disconnect this in the future, I only have one cable to disconnect, but for some of you, that might be an issue. You can see here that I've just got standard PSU cables, just the standard ugly braided black ones. But if you've got custom cables or something like that, this isn't going to look that nice with your build. What does surprise me a little bit is that this is a lot thinner than my other 3090 graphics card. My other card goes way over the X8, whereas this one actually leaves enough room for it there. That means that in theory, I could put a card in, such as my Elgato 4K60 Pro, but there is only one fan and it's here at this side. So I wouldn't want to block airflow by putting something into the X8. So I can move some things about. I'm actually going to put an AIO at the top here, which frees up an M2 drive for me to put in there. And I've just not put one in there because I always have to do a repaste. But yeah, I can move things around. But yeah, the graphics card does fit. It was an easy installation and it looks good. So earlier today, in preparation for putting this 3090 into this PC, I ran the display driver uninstall tool just to ensure that there was no problems with drivers and there was no leftover files or registry entries from my 1080 Ti. So I ran that earlier today and then I've loaded this up just now and it loaded fine. Everything's good. So I've powered it on. I've downloaded the latest game driver from Nvidia and yeah, that's it all installed. But there is one more thing to do. This is a GPU brace from up here. And this will help this graphics card from sagging. It will prevent it sagging. So it says that this is for dual slot cards, but it looks like this will work with this. So we'll give it a try. And it comes with two of these kind of pads here, which you put on the top like that. And it's about a tenner or so. And it comes with these 4 long screws, which are necessary for it to kind of go through this and then into the slot here. So I'll put this on now and we'll see how it works. So the support bracket is now on. I tried a few different positions here as far as moving this bracket further up and then moving it back down. It does feel a little bit more secure when you move this further up, but it also feels like you're going to scrape the graphics card, and it looks like there could be a problem with it touching the heatsink or the fan. Now, as far as the best position goes, this larger foam pad doesn't seem to work well, at least with this graphics card in my configuration here. The smaller one works well, but it seems like I can only really put it here in the middle or here, you know, where this line goes down between the heat sinks, where the metal goes. Seems to be okay, but obviously the PC is on its back now. When I stand this up vertically and when I use it for a few weeks, maybe I'll get a better understanding as to whether this does actually prevent GPU sag. But Worst case scenario, I'll buy one of the GPU stands that you can get. I'm using one of those on my other PC already, and it works really well. So I'll maybe move to that solution in the future. But the graphics card is in. Hopefully it's a little bit more secure now. So this has been an unboxing and some first impressions of the Nvidia GeForce RTX 3090 Founders Edition graphics card. And from a style point of view, my first impressions are positive. I really dig this weird retro design that's going on. Most graphics cards today have a backplate and then 3 fans on the front. Some of the smaller ones have 2. But instead of that, they have 1 fan at each side and a huge heatsink that just wraps around the graphics card. They've also got air going out the back as well. As I showed you, this graphics card is quite heavy, over 2 kilograms, but it's a little bit shorter and thinner than some other 3090s on the market. My other 3090 covers the X8 slot. This does not. Now, I wouldn't want to block that fan by using the X8 slot, but I guess you could use it. It is a possibility. And I suspect that's what some people do if they're crazy enough to put 2 of these into SLI. At the back, there's 1 HDMI and 3 display ports, and I think that's sufficient for most people, but I would have liked to have maybe had 1 more HDMI just to give me a little bit more flexibility for connecting to monitors and different things. But I do have many display port cables, and I do have display port to HDMI adapters, so it's a non-issue. From a performance point of view, well, I don't really know much at this point, and that is something that I will cover in the future. So far, it does seem like it is a quiet card, but in the future, I'm going to be doing some tests. I'll do some benchmarks, play some games, and I'll pay closer attention to thermals and acoustics, and I'll have a better understanding as to what this card is about. But for now, thanks for watching. I do hope you have enjoyed this video, and until next time, take care.